Okay. So we have economics A level paper for question 3, past paper 3. Let's look at it together. Okay. So I'm going to treat question 1 to 6 here. So question 1, they said, in 2022, the entertainment production company Sony Picture Networks India and Z Entertainment Enterprises Limited signed an agreement to merge. Which one of the following best describes this type of merger? When it comes to merger, it simply means two or more firms are coming together to create a new entity, a new legal entity. That is what merger is. And merger is a form of integration. Then let's look at the options we have here. They said forward vertical integration, backward vertical integration, horizontal integration, and conglomerate integration. So it is not forward vertical. So let's quickly talk about vertical integration. For vertical integration, it occurs when two or more firms integrate at different level of production. So it's because it's different level of production, so it does not go in line with the extracts. The extracts about Sony Picture Networks and Z Entertainment are in the same level of production. So it is not vertical integration. And for forward vertical integration, it simply means you're closer, the integration is closer to consumers. And for backward vertical integration, it simply means the integration is closer to resources. So it is not A and B. So it's not A and it's not B. Then let's look at C. Yeah, it's horizontal integration because horizontal integration occurs when when integration happens at the same level of production. So it is C. Then option D, conglomerate integration. That occurs when firms are able to diversify or spread their risk. So it's not D. So for question 1, it is C. So go to question 2. For question 2, here they said the diagram shows a long run average cost curve for a firm. So it said which one of the following must be true as output rises from Q1 to Q2. So the analysis of this graph first. So we have at this point to this point, at this point to this is the minimum. This is the minimum. This is the optimum level. This is the optimum level. That's the minimum of the AC. And anything after the minimum of the AC will bring about an increase in AC. So from this point down here, okay. From this point down here, we call it economies of scale. So this is economies of scale, economies of scale, economies of scale, and this is the optimum level. And as soon as the firm operates from Q1 to Q2, based on the analysis, as soon as the firm operates from Q1 to Q2, it brings about these economies of scale, these economies of scale, because the firm is expanding more than its capability, and that is these economies of scale. So let's look at the options we have here. So which one of the following must be true as output rises from Q1 to Q2? The marginal cost is falling. No, the marginal cost would rather rise because it means the MC is greater than the AC. MC is greater than AC. So it's not falling. It's not A. There are economies of scale. Economies of scale occurs before Q1. So it is not B. Marginal costs are constant. It's not constant. It's constant at the optimum level. It's not C. And D. And D, there are diseconomies of scale. Yes, that's the situation here. It's diseconomies of scale. Then go to question 3. They said, a firm employs 50 workers in its factory. Each worker is paid a weekly wage of $1,500 to attract an additional worker. The firm needs to raise the wage from $1,500 a week to $1,600 a week for each of its employees. So there's additional worker here. So they said, which one of the following is the marginal cost of employing the additional worker? So first, how do we calculate marginal cost? So MC equals to TC2 minus TC1. So now we have to find TC1 and TC2. So TC1 will be the current wage rate. What do I call it? The current wage bill. So TC1 will be assumed to be the current wage bill. The current wage bill, which is 50 multiplied by 1,500. Then TC2 represents the new wage bill. The new wage bill, which is additional worker hours 51 multiplied by 1,600. 1,600. So we have 50 times 1,500, that's 75,000. So TC1 is 75,000 and TC2 is 51 multiplied by 1,600. That's 81,600. 81,600. So MC is TC2 minus TC1. So 81,600 minus 75,000 is the MC. So the MC is $6,600. So for question 3, it is B. Go to question 4. Said, the diagram shows the equilibrium output of a profit maximizing firm operating in a perfectly competitive market. Now, the question says, which one of the following can be deduced from this diagram? So let me just explain the diagram already. So in this situation, the average revenue, this is the average revenue, and this is the average cost. So AC is greater than AR, and this brings about a loss-making situation, a loss-making situation. So that is the situation on ground. It's a loss-making situation. So that's a loss-making situation. And now let's check together. No, the options. It said profit of the firm. Now the option said which one of the following can be deduced from this diagram? Profits of the firm in the short run is a loss. Yeah, it's a loss. This is right. But numbers of firms in the industry in the long run would increase. No, they would rather reduce because a loss-making situation would make firms to exit the market. So it's not A. Firms will make normal profit. They're not making normal profit. It's a loss-making situation. The numbers of firms will decrease. Yes, the numbers of firms will decrease. But it's not B because one of the options are wrong. So we look at C. Firms will make normal profit. No, it's a loss-making situation. Numbers of firms would decrease, not increase, because firms would exit the market in the long run when they are not making profits. So that's why it's not C. So it's not A, it's not B, it's not C, then it should be D. So which one of the following? Okay, profit of the firm in the short run is a loss. Yes, it's a loss. And firms will exit, like I told you earlier on, because firms will exit the market, it simply means decrease in the numbers of firms in the industry. And remember, an industry is a combination of firms selling homogeneous products. So the answer is D. So we'll go to question 5. So for question 4, it's D. Question 4, it's D. So we'll go to question 5. The German electricity company aims to maximize its total revenue. At which of the following would total revenue be maximized? The level of output at which MC equals to MR, that is profit maximizing level of output, where MR equals to MC, that is profit maximizing level of output, maximizing level of output. So it's not A. B, the level of output at which average variable cost is equals to marginal cost. And that will make the total revenue will be maximized at that point, so it's not B. The level of output at which average revenue is equals to 0. If the average revenue is equals to 0, it means the average revenue is greater than 1, so it's not C. The level of output at which marginal revenue is equals to 0, and that is the answer there, because at that point, the firm will be able to maximize its total revenue. So for question 5 is D. So go to question 6, which is the last MCQ question. A diamond mining company is considering whether to set up operations in Botswana. Which one of the following would be a barrier to entry into this industry? High level of government subsidies. With government subsidies, that would attract firms to want to set up in Botswana. So it's not A. So it's not A. High sunk cost, yes. Sunk cost is a cost that cannot be recovered. And that might be the reason, that might be a barrier to entry. So it is B. So let's look at other options anyway. Low level of government regulation. Low level of government regulation allows more firms to come in because it simply means bureaucracy would reduce. It simply means cost of production would also fall for firms because it's not going to take time to get engaged. What takes time takes money. So low level of government regulation would rather attract more firms to set up in a country like Botswana. So it's not C. And D, low concentration ratio. If there's low concentration ratio, it simply means there's free entry and exit. Small firms can as well, make their own way in that market. So it's not D. So A, C, and D would bring about more firms coming into the market than thinking about not coming into the market. So the only reason why firms might find it difficult to enter a market is because of the high sunk cost. So for question 6, it is B. So that ends the MCQ session of June 2024. Thank you for paper 3. And I remain Dr. Adebayo. Thank you.